Hello, everyone, and welcome to basically a wrap up of the end of the year. We're almost close to the end, and this year I do want to do a couple of things. I do want to do a video about just some I want to do a Wotv award thing, because end of the years, that's what we're supposed to be doing. And I don't know if anybody actually does Wotv awards, but if not, I'm claiming it as a thing. I think most of the Wotv content creators right now are playing FF14 anyway, so there's no one around to deny me. All right, so leading up to the end of the year, though, I want to take a look at where some collaborations are on the JP side. There are just some collaborations that have come out and the units have been hanging around for a while, and where are they on the JP side? Are they still used? Are they not used? How do I feel about them given the what is currently going on JP with the TMRs? So we're going to take a look through all of them. And first of all, we're just going to take a look at FF6. Now, I know FF6 hasn't been out that long, but it has been long enough for me to change my evaluations on certain characters based on fighting them, based on using them, based on AI, based on performance. And we're just going to talk about all three of them, and shout outs to the fact that I don't have Terra. So, we're just gonna have to just pretend for a second. So let's start with the main character from Final Fantasy VI. Although I remember back in the day, there was quite a few people who would argue about, Locke's the main character from FF6. To which, no. Anyway, Terra, a mage user who has really good DPS, who now we know a little bit more about, what exactly she got a vision card for herself, and the FF6 Trials of Judgment event, or box event as we call it, because it has the boxes. We know what the weapon gives, or what the accessory gives. The accessory is Terra's ribbon, and it is basically Prompto's weapon for mages, or Prompto's accessory for mages. I don't know why I keep calling it a weapon, except for the fact that it is a weapon, because, while being an accessory, it increases human killer. So Prompto's increased human killer for physical attacks, Terra's, or Tina's, however you prefer to call her, hers is increased increases human killer on magic attacks. So obviously another really highly recommended piece of equipment, and it's really good on Terra. Well, on the JP side, I can confirm, thankfully, that over the last little while from playing Arena, especially now that it's been a few weeks since FF6 started, I've come up against my fair share of both Terra's, Locke, and Celeste's. And I have to say, Terra is just by far the least good. Now, I'm not saying she's bad. Some people are going to be like, Umbra, I like this character. You're not allowed to say that she doesn't perform as well as other characters. Okay, well, we'll get there, but no, Terra is what I would say the least good of the three, and I think that's a really fair thing, because Celeste is just such a hard counter for her. I mean, forget the magic canceling, forget the fact that Terra has just, in her main kit, just not enough number of uses for magic attacks. Terra has some great synergy out there with fire and slash. She can do really great amounts of damage, and the human killer on a ribbon is going to help push her even higher for what her performance can do. But the problem is that she ain't a Golbez, and we'll talk about Golbez eventually. But this week I've fought a fair number of Terras. I've chosen quite a few parties that have specifically Terra and Mono Fire, and I've tried against Terra with Mono Magic. And all the times that they've gone, their level 120s have gone up against my tanks, Terra has been pretty much neutralized by just Celeste being on the field, not even just like anything else. she just doesn't perform quite as good. But what are you gonna do when you're a high damage fire magic character and a water magic tank comes straight out after? It's just kind of a tough situation. Terra will be great in a lot of other content, a lot of PvE stuff, and a lot of places where you can choose to not go up against Celeste. But that being said, I have found her to be, pretty good still against the other magic tanks. Not super good enough, but good enough. So yeah, Terra is by no means bad, but she's pretty hard countered right now in terms of the PvP, and I don't think, barring the Christmas units that we don't know about yet and whatever else will come out on the JP side or global side before these characters show up again, I feel like Terra is the least good of the FF6s. And yeah, that's just kind of the way it is. Now, switching gears and talking about, I don't know, the unit that I've probably given the most praise this year to, besides Setia, is Celeste. And Celeste is really just that good. I mean, she really is just that good. She is absolutely incredible. She is a unit that transcends parties. Like, you do not need to necessarily put her in a water party. You get a lot of benefits from the vision cards, but she is, just the character that I try to put in any piece of content. I've seen people that have built her well over 10,000 HP. I have seen people who have, built her for magic damage, as a pure magic tank, all kinds of stuff. I've seen her just built in many different ways with many different espers at this point for many different functions. Her ability cannot be understated for how good it is at shutting down mage teams completely, especially into her EX. Now, against physical units, unless she's built a specific way, I feel like she can definitely be countered. Mine has lost a few matches, but I would say that my overall win ratio in Arena, barring maybe some AI stuff, has been really net positive since she has come along, especially if I get the choices of against pure mage teams. It feels almost like a guaranteed win, which is awesome. She's a great unit. Her performance has really not been, I just can't understate it. Her AI is good enough to know what abilities to really use, to use some buff abilities, but still go out in front to take the brunt of the damage. She's capable of, with her own attacks, of dealing out some damage and being useful on the battlefield. But she's a fantastic unit for every piece of content. I feel that she is probably the best long-term value unit we're going to see. She's this year's Yuna, and I'll drink to that. She really is just proven that she is so damn good for me. But the other thing I can tell you is that she's spread like wildfire in the JP community. She is in almost every other arena team on the JP side. She has completely, I would say that she's completely replaced Lord Mont. If you want to know how good of a tank she is, there are people who are just like, oh, there's no need for Mont anymore, there's no need for Joom anymore, just run this character and you're probably going to be good enough. And I think that that is mostly true. I still wouldn't give up on Joom as a physical tank over this unit. But wow, is Celeste just, ooh. Masterclass unit. Alright, and the last character to talk about is the character that I am giving, however, the most improved and the most cancerous unit possibly of the entire year. Now, don't quote me on that, because obviously the year isn't finished yet, and well, I might be forgetting someone, and globalers will say, well, we have this unit, and we don't. This is from a JP perspective. Maybe I should have led with that in this video. But Locke, my boy Locke, is the ultimate pain in the ass right now on the JP side. He is awful to deal with. He is everywhere. Like, you want to talk about just how everywhere Celeste is? Well, Locke is in every crevice. Locke is a little bit like sand if you go to the beach. He is just all over the place. You can't get rid of him. He is in cracks you don't even know exist yet on your body, but don't worry. Go to a specialist. They'll find those for you. Locke is just disgustingly good. With the new thing on the JP side now where we have TMR upgrading, where we can give a lot of things extra evasion and luck. Yeah, evasion units are a problem on the JP side, and a big problem, to the point where it's almost a daily conversation in guilds, it feels like, where everyone's just a little fed up with the number evasion teams that are in Guild Wars, that are in Arena, that are in PvP, like any PvP, and Locke is definitely behind all of it. He is everywhere. The light teams that were a lot of Jaden and a lot of Fina have mostly been, it feels like, kind of replaced by this new evasion meta on the JP side, meaning that sure hit abilities have just, their value has just gone straight through the roof. But Locke, because of his TMR, because of himself, because of the build you can do with this guy, you can push a high amount of attack with having a really high chance of evasion with an upgraded TMR. And you can throw bells on him, or just let him have his job level 25 ability. Either one will give him AP regeneration. And yeah, that's all. And you just need to get unlucky enough, and it does not matter. As high as I can praise Celeste for being an absolutely top tier unit, Locke has gone above and beyond, in my experience, to become the worst thing this entire year, possibly. He's got AP, he's got nasty things, he even has auto re-raise, and the problem is if you can't basically guarantee that you will hit him, he still has enough HP to potentially survive some attacks, to just be a real force on the battlefield, and it can just lead to an evasion war potentially between locks. Yeah, out of all the FF6 characters, I would probably say at this point, not necessarily long term, because we can always get a new sure hit unit that would just shut this comp down right away. Boy, oh boy, do I think Locke is the at least in the short term, the best unit of the FF6 event. It's almost hard to believe that he was the free unit because he's just so damn good. Celeste, I feel like, will ultimately be the long-term value unit that most people should want in a game like this, where units are expensive to build and to get a lot of the time. So Celeste is still my personal highest recommendation, and probably going to be easiest, the longest term value unit. But Locke is the real asshole of this event. He is just the unit that is everywhere. You can't get away from him. He is I guess he's like Cloud when Cloud came out on the JP side. Just everywhere, everyone has him. Everyone has him at 120. And it hurts if you don't, because yours is inferior to the other guys. Locke envy. So yeah, looking at the FF6, FF6 turned out to be an incredibly interesting event with just a variety of characters that are good for different reasons. A lot of really powerful characters that I think are going to be valuable long term. But if we're talking about like who over like the few weeks has really come out of the gate just charging and doing the most, third place would be Terra, because we have to put someone there. Celeste would be number 2, but probably over the long term, she's going to be the highest value unit. And I literally think she will be like Lord Mont, and in 9 months, she will still be incredibly good on the JP side. But Locke takes the number 1 spot for FF6 units, because let me tell you, we on the JP side are living through evasion hell. So, next time on this recap series, we're going to take a look at the other collaborations one by one, except for FF1, because FF1 is really short discussion. Yeah, we're basically just going to take a look through all the old ones as we count down to New Year's and figure out which ones are kind of the best value from the JP side perspective. Anyway, thanks for watching, take care, and see you next time.